After 15 years in landscaping and garden design, I've walked into hundreds of backyards where the homeowner spent serious money and ended up wishing they hadn't. A patio that looked flawless on installation day but cracked wide open by year 3. A water feature sitting bone dry because nobody wants to clean the pump. A privacy hedge that vanished overnight after a single disease wiped it out. These weren't small purchases. These were big investments people thought they were making in their property. And one feature on this list is something contractors are still actively pushing as the ultimate backyard upgrade. It's the one I see abandoned the fastest. Let's get into it, starting with number 15. Number 15, cheap artificial turf. On a hot summer afternoon, budget synthetic turf can reach surface temperatures above 150 degrees Fahrenheit. You can't walk on it barefoot. Pets avoid it, and anything plastic you set on it warps. But temperature's only the start. Within 2 to 3 years, low-end turf fades from that bright green to a flat bluish tone that screams fake. The fibers flatten in high-traffic spots, and because cheaper products use backing under 6 ounces per square yard, you get visible seams and buckling where the ground shifts underneath. Picture a front yard where one half has faded and the other still looks green from uneven sun. That patchwork is impossible to fix without ripping it all out. If you want synthetic turf, invest in a product with a minimum face weight of 60 ounces per square yard and UV-stabilized fibers rated for at least 8 years. Or honestly, consider drought-tolerant native ground cover instead. It actually improves with age. And if surface heat concerns you, the next feature does something worse. It quietly poisons the soil underneath it. Coming in at number 14, railroad tie retaining walls. I worked with a homeowner who had stacked ties along their back slope for over a decade. Looked solid, held the hill fine. Then they went to sell, and the termite inspector found colonies running through every single tie and into the garage framing, less than 4 feet away. That repair cost over $8,000. Replacing the ties years earlier would have been a fraction of that. Railroad ties are treated with creosote, which the EPA classifies as a probable human carcinogen. That leaches into surrounding soil over time. And structurally exposed ties rot from the core within 7 to 10 years, even when the outside still looks fine. Replace them with segmental retaining wall blocks or natural stone, both rated for ground contact and available in styles that look dramatically better. For walls under 3 feet, pressure-treated timber at a .40 retention rating is a safe, affordable alternative. Choosing the right wall material matters, but it won't save you if you make the mistake at number 10. That one's invisible until it's already destroyed your garden beds. Now, speaking of ground-level materials, people get wrong. This next one is probably in your walkway right now. Number 13, pea gravel in high-traffic areas. You know what sounds like an easy, affordable walkway fix? Pea gravel. Here's the reality. It migrates everywhere. Into the lawn, into your shoes, across the driveway, and into the house every single time you walk through the door. Pea gravel shifts constantly underfoot because it has no binding agent. On any slope, it slides downhill after every rain. And for anyone with even slightly uneven footing, loose gravel is genuinely hazardous. There's a reason it doesn't meet ADA accessibility guidelines for walkways. The alternative is decomposed granite compacted with a stabilizing binder. It locks into a firm surface, drains well, costs about $3 to $5 per square foot installed, and stays put. For a more finished look, natural flagstone set on a compacted base with tight joints gives you a surface that lasts decades. If this is already helping you rethink a few things, subscribe. I put out videos like this every week. But here's something most people wouldn't expect. The next feature is a living plant that seems completely harmless and actually causes structural damage to your house. 12. Invasive ground cover plants. Invasive ground cover. Big no. English ivy, vinca, creeping jenny. They get planted because they fill in fast and seem effortless. That's exactly the problem. English ivy grows up to 50 feet in a single season. Once it hits your siding, it works into every crack, loosens mortar joints, and traps moisture against the wall. The USDA lists it as invasive across most of the eastern United States. And removal? Forget pulling it out. The root system goes deep. I've spent entire job site days excavating roots from beds that were planted with ivy just 5 or 6 years earlier. Picture a garden bed swallowed by ivy versus one planted with creeping thyme or native sedge. The thyme stays low, stays contaminated, and blooms with color. The ivy becomes a maintenance trap you never escape. Plant native, non-invasive alternatives instead. Creeping phlox, wild ginger, or Pennsylvania sedge all stay where you put them and actually work with your garden rather than consuming it. Speaking of things that look fine at first and quietly fall apart, I had a client call me about a fence only 4 years old. What I found says everything about this next feature. 11. Vinyl privacy fencing. Let's talk about vinyl privacy fencing. 4 years. That's how long before one client's white vinyl fence turned a chalky yellow-gray. When a panel cracked in a storm, the replacement they ordered was bright white, sitting next to 4 years of yellowed vinyl. The mismatch was visible from across the street. PVC expands and contracts roughly an eighth of an inch for every 10-degree Fahrenheit swing. In climates with real seasons, that movement loosens posts, warps panels, and pops connectors. And most vinyl warranties cover structural failure only. Not discoloration, not warping, not cosmetic damage. Read the fine print before you buy. Imagine that same property line with cedar that silvers naturally, or a horizontal slat composite with built-in UV inhibitors. Both age gracefully. Both look intentional. For privacy fencing, go with cedar rated for ground contact or composite with a minimum 25-year fade warranty. And while we're on privacy, the mistake at number 6 involves a living fence that can vanish overnight. Before we get there though, the next feature is one nearly every gardener has used, and it's doing more damage underground than anyone realizes. 10. Landscape fabric under mulch. We're about halfway in, and this is where things get personal. Number 10. Landscape fabric under mulch. Every hardware store recommends it. Every how-to article says lay it down first, and that's exactly why it's on this list. Landscape fabric is a polypropylene sheet that starts degrading in direct ground contact within 3 to 5 seasons. The edges fray. It tears when you try to plant through it. And it blocks organic matter from breaking down into the soil, which is exactly what healthy beds need. Weeds? They root right on top of the fabric in the mulch layer, so you're still pulling weeds, but now through shredded plastic. Skip the fabric entirely. 3 to 4 inches of hardwood mulch refreshed once a year suppresses weeds naturally while feeding the soil beneath it. For new beds where you're smothering existing grass, lay plain cardboard. It blocks light for 1 season, then breaks down completely. Would you rather fight weeds through tangled plastic or through clean, loose mulch? And while fabric just makes beds miserable, the next feature can leave you with a 500-pound concrete eyesore you can't move. 9. Oversized water fountain. Here's a question. How many large tiered fountains have you actually seen running? In my experience, maybe 1 in 5. The rest sit dry, stained with mineral deposits and collecting leaves. Large fountains need pumps rated at 200 to 400 gallons per hour to circulate properly. That pump runs constantly, clogs with debris, and the basin grows algae unless you treat it regularly. In freezing climates, you must drain the whole system before winter or expanding ice cracks the basin, and by spring you've got a shattered centerpiece on your hands. Picture that stained, dry fountain versus a simple bubbling rock. One natural stone with water gently recirculating through it. Clean, minimal, almost maintenance-free. Go small and self-contained. A recirculating bubbler with a buried reservoir eliminates standing water, mosquitoes, and most of the upkeep. Make sure it has an easy drain plug. You will need it. People skip the small features and go big because they want impressive. That exact instinct is what drives the most expensive mistake on this list, coming up at number 1. Speaking of impressive-sounding features, this next one was sold as the premium patio upgrade. It fooled a lot of homeowners. Number 8. Stamped concrete. Control joints every 8 to 10 feet in both directions. Sealant reapplied every 2 to 3 years at $2 to $4 per square foot. Color hardener that must stay consistent across every pour. That's what stamped concrete demands, and nobody mentions it at the point of sale. I had a client with a beautiful ashlar pattern stamped into their patio. Day 1, gorgeous. 4 years later, the sealant had worn unevenly, glossy in spots, chalky in others. Color faded where afternoon sun hit hardest. After one hard freeze, 2 sections cracked along the pattern lines where control joints should have been deeper. And here's something most people don't consider. Sealed stamped concrete gets dangerously slippery when wet. If your patio catches rain or pool splash, that's a liability. Go with natural flagstone on a compacted base or porcelain pavers rated for exterior use with a minimum R11 slip resistance. Both weather beautifully, both are repairable piece by piece, and neither needs resealing. We're down to single digits. And these next points catch people completely off guard, starting with a feature everyone thinks is a great idea, until they try it on a breezy evening. 7. Permanent built-in fire pit. Everyone wants a fire pit, I get it, but most permanent built-in fire pits get used 4 or 5 times a year, and half those evenings end early because of smoke. Fire codes require a minimum 10-foot clearance from any structure, house, fence, shed, overhead branches. In most suburban backyards, that pushes the pit dead center of the lawn, away from where people actually sit. And even when you gather around it, wind shifts the smoke constantly. There's a saying among landscapers, wherever you sit, the smoke follows. A permanent stone fire pit costs $2,000 to $8,000. A quality portable steel pit with secondary combustion that actually burns off smoke runs $300 to $500. You move it wherever the wind isn't blowing, store it off-season, and take it if you move. Picture a big stone ring collecting leaves and rainwater 11 months a year. Now picture a clean open yard where a portable pit appears only when you want it. Feature versus obstacle. That's the difference. And speaking of features that seem permanent until they aren't, I worked on a property where the owner lost their entire backyard privacy screen in one season. Here's what happened. Number 6. The single species privacy hedge. And here's the part nobody talks about. When you plant an entire fence line with one species, you're not building a wall. You're building a single point of failure. Leyland cypress is among the most popular screening plants in America and one of the most vulnerable. Cyrrhidium canker alone kills mature trees within 2 seasons, and it spreads down the row because every plant is genetically identical. One infected tree, and the whole screen browns out section by section. That homeowner had 22 Leyland cypress along their property line. Bagworms got in during summer, and by the following spring, half were brown and bare. 16 years of growth, gone. Leyland cypress doesn't regenerate from dead wood. Once it's brown, it's done. Plant a mixed species screen instead. 3 or more varieties, green giant arborvitae, holly, and wax myrtle, for instance. Stagger the heights. If one species has a bad year, the others carry the screen. Your privacy survives. That's a feature you can at least replant. But the next one, once it's in your yard, it's not coming out without a crane. 5. Massive decorative boulders. I remember a job where the homeowner wanted 3 large granite boulders in the front yard. Each weighed close to 3,000 pounds. Looked dramatic on day 1. 5 years later, they wanted to redesign the garden. Those boulders? Still there, because removing them meant hiring a crane, tearing up the lawn, and spending close to $2,000 just to haul them off. Large boulders compact the soil underneath them permanently. Nothing grows where they sat, and because they're so visually dominant, they dictate the layout of everything around them. Every future change has to work around immovable objects. The yard looked like a corporate office entrance, not a home garden. If your front yard could double as a business campus, the boulders are doing the wrong job. Use smaller accent stones, 12 to 18 inches, grouped naturally within planting beds, or go with dry stacked stone walls or planted berms for height and drama. You get the visual weight without the permanence. And if 3,000-pound boulders sound like a problem, the next feature puts 3,000 pounds of water weight on a structure that wasn't built for it. Above-ground hot tub on the deck. How heavy is a filled hot tub? Most people never think about it. A standard 4-person tub with water and people weighs between 3,000 and 4,000 pounds, concentrated on roughly 35 square feet of deck surface. Most residential decks handle about 40 pounds per square foot. A filled hot tub puts well over 100. You're exceeding capacity by 2 to 3 times. I've seen joists crack, posts shift, and ledger boards pull away from the house. That failure doesn't happen all at once. It happens slowly. Under 18 inches of water you can't see through. The right approach is a dedicated ground-level concrete pad, minimum 4 inches thick, poured on compacted gravel, designed specifically for the weight. The tub stays accessible and stable. Your deck stays a deck. Since we're on the topic of water in the wrong place, the next feature puts an entire ecosystem in your backyard. Sounds peaceful? It is not. 3. Backyard pond. Number 3. The backyard pond. Koi gliding through crystal water. The sound of a gentle waterfall. Lily pads drifting across the surface. That's the catalog version. The reality is, algae blooms every warm month, a pump running 24 hours a day, and raccoons treating your fish like a buffet. A stable pond needs a minimum of 1,000 gallons and a depth of at least 2 feet. 3 or more where winters freeze. The pump and filter run constantly, adding real dollars to your electric bill. And every spring, you're draining, scrubbing, and restarting the entire system. Most homeowner ponds I've seen are either green, overgrown, or already filled with dirt and planted over. If you've made it this far, you already know more than most people who installed one of these. The enthusiasm lasts 3 to 5 years before maintenance wins. The fix is a pondless waterfall, a recirculating system pumping water over rocks into a buried basin. No standing water, no fish to feed, no algae to fight. All the ambiance, almost none of the work. That's costly to maintain. But the next feature causes damage that costs more to fix than almost anything else on this list. And it's the most patient problem in landscaping. 2. Tree planted too close to the house. A beautiful red maple, 12 feet from the foundation. The homeowner planted it 20 years ago and loved watching it grow from the kitchen window. Then they listed the house. The buyer's inspector found root intrusion in the main sewer line. The arborist flagged foundation pressure. Estimated cost to remove the tree, grind the stump, repair the sewer, and reseed. Just under $12,000. 20 years of shade, and it nearly killed the sale. Tree roots extend 2 to 3 times the canopy width. A tree with a 30-foot spread has roots reaching 60 to 90 feet from the trunk. Most people plant a small nursery tree with no idea how large it gets. A red oak needs 30 feet minimum from any structure. Even an ornamental like a crepe myrtle should sit 10 to 15 feet from the foundation. Right tree, right place. Before you plant, look up the mature canopy spread and root behavior. If it needs 30 feet, give it 30 feet. The shade is worth waiting for. The damage isn't worth gambling on. Now, number 1. This is the feature I mentioned at the start, the one contractors still push as a premium upgrade. It's the one I see homeowners walk away from the fastest. Number 1. The built-in outdoor kitchen. Built-in outdoor kitchens cost between $15,000 and $50,000. Granite countertops crack from freeze-thaw cycles. Stainless appliances rated for outdoor use still corrode at the seams within 3 to 5 years in humid climates. A grill insert that costs $3,000 lasts roughly half as long outside as it would in a garage. But here's the real insight. The features homeowners regret most are the ones that lock the yard into a single purpose. A built-in kitchen means that corner of your patio is permanently a kitchen. You cannot move it, repurpose the space, or update the layout without demolition. The yards I've worked on that people love most are built around flexibility. A portable grill with a weather-resistant prep cart, a covered patio with open space that hosts dinner one evening and a reading corner the next, modular furniture that shifts with the seasons. Before you pour anything permanent into your yard, ask yourself, will I still want this exact setup in this exact spot 10 years from now? If the answer isn't a confident yes, keep it movable. That single question protects you from every mistake on this list. If you've got a few of these in your yard, don't panic. Most are fixable without starting from scratch. Pick the one costing you the most and start there. But before you change anything, watch my video on the landscaping upgrades that actually add value to your property. It's on your screen right now. Click it.